If you are using AI coding tools right now and you are picking one over the other, you are leaving money and time on the table. I'm going to break down exactly what the benchmarks say about Codex versus Claude Code in 2026, and then I'm going to give you the playbook that the top developers are actually running. Spoiler, it is not pick one and forget the other. By the end of this video, you are going to know which tool wins on raw coding speed, which one wins on design and planning, and how to combine them so you ship faster and with fewer bugs than people using just one of them. I've been watching this space closely because everything I build runs on these tools: backlink automation, content systems, Pinterest schedulers, ad tracking pipelines, all of it. And the pattern I keep seeing in real production work matches what the data is showing. So let me start with the numbers because we are not going to talk out of our ass on this one. SWE Bench Verified, which is the industry standard benchmark for real GitHub issues, Claude Opus 4.7 hits 87.6%. That is the highest score any agentic coding tool has ever recorded. The previous version, Opus 4.6, sat at 80.8%. GPT 5.4, which powers the latest Codex CLI, lands somewhere around 80% on the same benchmark according to third-party testing, though OpenAI has not officially published that number. The older GPT 5.3 Codex was at roughly 75%. So on raw issue resolution, Claude Code is ahead. That is not opinion, that is the leaderboard. But here's where it gets interesting. On Terminal Bench 2.0, which measures terminal native coding tasks like scripting, deployment, CI work, and DevOps, Codex flips the script. GPT 5.3 Codex hits 77.3% on Terminal Bench 2.0. GPT 5.4 sits at 75.1%. Claude Opus 4.7 lands at 69.4% on the same benchmark. So if your work is terminal commands, shell scripts, deployment automation, Codex is genuinely faster and more accurate at it. There is one more number you need to know about, and this one matters more than people realize. Codex uses roughly 4 times fewer tokens than Claude Code for equivalent tasks. That is not a small efficiency gain. At scale, that is the difference between burning through your monthly token budget in a week versus making it last a full month. So if you're running a lot of automated work or batch processing, Codex stretches your dollar way further. Claude Code burns through token limits fast, and the bills add up. Let me hit you with the number that flips the whole conversation. Blind code quality reviews, Claude Code wins 67% of the time over Codex. Codex wins about 25% of those head-to-head reviews, with the rest being ties. So Codex is faster, cheaper, and better at terminal work. When you actually compare the code that comes out, Claude Code produces higher quality output 2/3 of the time. That is the tension. That is why you cannot just pick one. Now, here is where most of the YouTube videos out there get this wrong. They tell you to pick a winner. The actual winning move in 2026 is to run both and to use each one for what it is genuinely best at. After watching how top developers are using these tools, the playbook is this: Claude Code for planning and design, Codex for implementation. And I am going to break down exactly why. Senior product designer ran an experiment documented on the UX Collective where Claude Code was the builder and Codex CLI was the reviewer. The finding was that Claude produced better design fidelity, preserved layout structure, and exported images correctly from the original design. Codex produced a functional but visually different result. In a separate test on a job scheduler build, Claude Code created comprehensive documentation and production-ready architecture, while Codex delivered a more concise, more functional implementation, but with less overhead. That is the split. Claude thinks in systems. Codex executes against a spec. There is a developer write-up that has been circulating where the author spent 3 hours designing an authentication system with Claude Code. The plan looked solid. HWT tokens, refresh logic, password hashing. He implemented it, deployed it, and then ran Codex CLI for a routine review. Codex found 7 security issues that Claude had completely missed. Things like JWT secrets being committed to source control, missing rate limiting, weak password hashing rounds. Each finding was something Claude knew about in principle, but did not catch in his own implementation. The second perspective caught the gaps. This is the exact same pattern I see with marketing strategy. You can have the best plan in the world, but if you do not have a second pair of eyes on execution, you will ship things that look complete but have holes in them. The Reddit thread that summed this up best had a developer saying, "I use Claude Code for ideating and big ideas and small implementation, and then I tell it to run Codex to do complex implementations and code reviews." That is the playbook. Architect with Claude, execute with Codex. Cross-check with whichever one did not write the original code. Now let me give you the exact workflow if you want to copy this verbatim. Stage 1 is planning. You open Claude Code and you describe what you want to build, not the code, the system. You say, I want a user authentication flow with email confirmation, password reset, and rate limiting. You ask Claude to plan it and not write any code yet. Claude will read your existing code base, understand your patterns, and propose an architecture. This is plan mode, and it is one of the most underused features in Claude Code. You hit Shift Tab to enter it, and Claude will not touch a file until you approve the plan. This is where Claude shines. Thinks holistically, will tell you that your current session middleware does not support the new flow, that you need a new database column, and that there is a dependency you have not considered. Stage 2 is design and component work. If you are building anything visual, Claude Code is genuinely better here. Layout structure, component hierarchy, design token usage, all of it. There's a reason it wins blind quality reviews 67% of the time. You feed it your Figma files through MCP, you give it your design tokens, and you have it generate the component structure. This is where you lock in the look and feel of what you are building. If you are doing any kind of SEO work alongside your dev projects, this is also where you should be thinking about your content and link strategy at the same time. Because no matter how good your code is, if your site is not getting traffic, none of it matters. This is where backlinkmanagement.io comes in. Claude is planning your code base. Backlink management is automating the SEO execution layer that most developers ignore until launch day. Daily backlinks built on autopilot, ranking content created daily, no manual outreach, no spreadsheets, no chasing. Most builders ship the product and then realize they have zero idea how to get traffic. Backlink management runs in the background while you build, so by the time you launch, you already have authority and content indexed. Stage 3 is implementation. This is where you switch to Codex. You hand it the plan that Claude produced. You tell it, execute this plan, and you let it work. Codex is faster, more token efficient, and on terminal tasks, it is genuinely better. You will write your migrations, set up your CI configuration, write your test files, and handle your deployment scripts faster than Claude would, and using a quarter of the tokens. The key here is that Codex works best when it has a clear spec. If you give it a vague request, you get vague output. If you give it the detailed plan that Claude already produced, you get tight, fast, executable work. This is also where Codex is best for grinding through repetitive code. Boilerplate, CRUD endpoints, similar component patterns repeated across files, blows through that kind of work. Stage 4 is review and cross-check. You take what Codex built and you have Claude Code review it. You flip it. Codex reviews what Claude built. This is the most underrated step, and it is the one almost nobody is doing. Model bias is real. When you ask the same AI to review its own work, it tends to agree with its previous decisions even when they are wrong. The second model, with a different training distribution, catches things the first one missed. The auth example I gave you earlier proved it. Claude built it, Codex found 7 holes in it. You do not have to do this for every line of code, but for anything touching auth, payments, data integrity, or external APIs, you absolutely should. Stage 5 is deployment and post-launch. Codex on terminal tasks, period. Set up a monitoring, log aggregation, alert routing, deployment pipelines. This is its lane, and it is faster than Claude here. Claude is great for thinking. Codex is great for doing. Use them in that order. Let me give you the honest take, because this is where most comparison videos fall apart. Claude Code is more expensive in practice. You will burn through tokens faster, and if you are running it heavily, the bills add up. The 4 times token difference versus Codex is not a small deal at scale. If you are a solo developer running tight, Codex is going to stretch your budget further. Claude Code also has a steeper configuration curve. You can build incredibly sophisticated workflows with it, hooks, skills, sub-agents, agent teams, but you will spend hours setting them up. Codex works pretty well out of the box. Less customization, less surface area to learn, faster ramp. On the flip side, Codex has weaker computer use. If you need browser automation, screen interaction, or any kind of GUI work, Claude Code is currently the stronger option. Codex is sandbox by design, which is great for security but limiting for that kind of work. And Windows support on Codex is still experimental. The best experience requires WSL2. If you are on Mac or Linux, this does not matter. If you are on Windows native, factor that in. Here's the bigger picture. The narrative that Claude Code and Codex are competitors is wrong. They are complements. The agentic coding space hit a milestone this year where Claude Code is now authoring roughly 4% of all public GitHub commits, which works out to about 135,000 commits per day. Semi-analysis projects, this hits 20% or more by the end of 2026. That is not a market where one tool wins and the other dies. It is a market that is big enough for multiple primary tools, and the smart developers are picking up both. The tooling is already adapting to this. There are community-built Claude Code skills that call Codex directly. There are agent configurations that route tasks between the two based on task type. The hybrid workflow is becoming the default. Let me give you the practical plan to get started this week. One is install both, Claude Code first, then Codex CLI. Have free tiers or starter pricing at $20 a month. Use Claude Code on its standard plan. Use Codex with a starter API key. Two, run a small project end-to-end through the hybrid pipeline. Pick something simple. Landing page, a small API endpoint, a CLI tool. Plan with Claude, build with Codex, review with Claude, get the muscle memory. Three, start measuring. Track how long each stage takes, how many bugs make it through review, and which tool catches what. You will start seeing the patterns within a week. 4 through 7, layer in the deeper features. Set up Claude Code Plan mode as your default for new projects. Set up Codex with Workspace, write permissions for implementation. Configure MCP servers on Claude Code for any external context you need. By the end of week 1, you will have a working 2-tool pipeline that is genuinely faster and more reliable than either tool alone. Note on cost. Yes, you are paying for 2 subscriptions. Yes, your token bill goes up. The time you save on debugging and the bugs you catch in review pay for it many times over. The developer who spent 3 hours on auth and missed 7 security issues, that is real cost. That is breach risk, that is rebuild time, that is incident response. The 2-tool pipeline catches that stuff before it ships. Here's what I want you to take away from this. The era of picking your AI coding tool and being loyal to it is over. The model leaderboards are leapfrogging each other every few months. Claude was ahead on SWE Bench. Codex caught up on Terminal Bench. Opus 4.7 jumped 7 points in a single release. By the time you finish this video, there will be a new model out. What does not change is the structure of how to use them. Plan with the deeper reasoning model. Execute with the faster, cheaper, more efficient one. Cross-check between them. Ship with confidence. And while you are doing that, do not forget the part that makes any of this matter. You can build the best code in the world, but if your site is not getting traffic, no one will ever see it. Backlinkmanagement.io handles the SEO execution while you handle the product. Daily backlinks, daily content, no manual work, no spreadsheets. Set it up once and let it run. If you found this video useful, hit subscribe because I am doing more of these AI tool comparisons every week. Next up, I'm going to break down the specific Claude Code skill setups that are giving the top developers a 10-time speed advantage, so make sure you are subscribed for that one. Drop a comment with the AI tool you are using right now. Read everyone, and I am genuinely curious what stack you're running. CO title, Codex versus Claude Code 2026. Which AI coding tool actually wins?